Very fast. I think they play at the fastest pace of anybody in our league right now. Push it, makes and misses. Cody Miller-McIntyre is terrific in the open court. One of the biggest, strongest point guards that you'll see. Devin Thomas inside, terrific center. Really a post driver and scores in a variety of ways. He can score with his back to the basket, but can also step out to 15 feet and drive you. And great hands, rebounding. Good young players. I think they're playing pretty hard and have had a very difficult start to the league in terms of the schedule they've played. Most of the name teams in our league they've already played, and took a bunch of them to the wire. Duke, Louisville, especially. So, we'll have our hands full getting them slowed down and under control defensively, and then as everything with us offensively, we've got to be better than we were on Monday night.
How did you use this week of practices, 4 days?
We were off Tuesday, and then Wednesday we watched film from Florida State offense that was not very good and worked a lot on our offensive execution. And then yesterday we watched film of our defensive mistakes and a couple good defensive plays, and worked primarily on improving our defense, mixing in some offensive schemes as well, and obviously beginning to get ready for Wake Forest, and we'll do the same today.
A lot mentioned the shell, some fundamental stuff defensively. Is that uncommon this time of year to go back?
No, I've always gone back to basic fundamentals whenever you get time. It's hard this time of year when you don't. This feels like the first time we've had some time to really, take a day off, come back, still have a couple days to get ready, and you can spend a little bit more time on shell and some basic fundamentals as opposed to always game planning. We play so many games so quickly that you're always preparing for the next team, and so we certainly broke some things down, especially yesterday, and we'll do it again today.
Understandable the guys being a little down after Monday night. You mentioned that you try to keep the even keel. Is that hard to communicate that to the players? To try to keep that same?
A little bit. I think players don't, they don't hurt as bad after a loss as a coach or as long. It's just part of it. It's just the nature of being an 18, 20-year-old kid. They're on to the next thing in life, the day after. And sometimes they need to be reminded of poor performance, and so we've done that for a couple days by dragging the film on for 2 days. I did on purpose to make sure that our guys understood that our last performance wasn't a good one, and that we didn't play the way we need to play, and didn't play to our ability level in a lot of ways, and they understand that, and but they needed reminding of it on Wednesday. You give them an off day on Tuesday, and by Wednesday they've put that game behind them. And there's sometimes that's really good, but there's a lot of times when they need to see that and be reminded of the things that we have to get better at, and that they didn't do the things that they practice, that we've practiced, and when you don't do those things, you're not going to be successful.
You've said a couple times about how kids don't hurt as bad as coaches after losses. Has that been a common thread, not just at Clemson but other schools?
Yeah, I think it's more common. I mean, it's just the nature of all we do is think about basketball all day. We don't have to go to class. We don't have, as many other things pulling at us. It's our job, and so we're constantly dissecting it. I do think this day and age, it's a little bit. They put losing past them a little faster than they should, especially in basketball. I don't know if it's true in other sports, but you get done with a game, and I'm sure it's this way in every sport. Immediately everybody picks up their phone, and you're in contact with the outside world, and you're on to the next thing, and that's not always good. I think back several years ago, especially when you were on the road, if you lost a game and there weren't cell phones, everybody on that bus riding back wasn't real happy, and there wasn't a lot of talk. It was pretty quiet. And you were expected to think a little bit about having not played at your ability level or your best. And, with AAU and playing so many games, I've said this before, it just encourages putting those things past you. And I don't think that's always good. I think you need to be reminded of not performing at your best enough. And You know, there are going to be times in this league when we play well and don't win. That happens, and I'm fine with that. But when we don't do the things we practiced and we don't play in a way that we should play, you know, I'm obviously frustrated by that. And I was frustrated by our performance on Monday. I was really disappointed. We should have played better.
Is there maybe something constructive, though, that Rod actually says even on Friday now he's still feeling a little bit down about it? Maybe
Yeah, I think that's.
seniors on?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's with him. I hope it's, you know, it's not something that you just put past you immediately. There are times, you know, there are certain games when you just play awful and you get beat from pillar to post, and every once in a while you just bury the tape and move on. But most times that's not the case. This wasn't one of those times. This is a time you need to reflect, and, you know, we need to get everybody back doing the things you need to do. And that's what's hard about, you know, sports that play all the time. When you have more games, there's more opportunities to not be as sharp, you know. And you're going to have some nights when you don't play as well, you know, offensively. Like we didn't play very well offensively in the game, but we really didn't defend as well as we should have either. We did okay at times, but there were other breakdowns that weren't as good. And, you know, we're not going to make excuses like we didn't have 2 days to get ready and all that. Like at the end of the day, you have to be ready. And we just didn't do it.
Is Wade one of those teams that when you watch them on the field and they're better than their record, probably so?
I think so. I think they're you know, they're playing a lot of young players, so I think it's like everybody, you're getting comfortable with the level. And they've got two outstanding players. When you have two outstanding scorers that can go for 25 points, it makes them very dangerous. You know, they play in a way that they can score. So that always makes for a dangerous team to play. And, you know, probably energized a little bit with a new coach and new style, new things. And so, yes, I think they've proven on several occasions it's not always a win where they've played at a high level. You know, they had Syracuse to overtime up at Syracuse, Louisville in a close game, Duke leading late in the second half. I mean, it's pretty good performances.
You've been rebounding well lately, and obviously Lake Forest. That's probably going to be.
It will. Devin Thomas is terrific. I mean, he pursues the ball with reckless abandon, physical, great hands. He's really good player. And, you know, the other guys crash from the wings. McClinton's a great athlete. They've got some big foremen that come in there and do some things, and they just come at you with such speed that you're not always in great position. And you got to be hungry. So certainly that'll be a factor in the game.
How difficult is it for preparing for Danny Manning? I mean, it's not like other guys in this league. This is his first year. You go back and look at Tulsa.
No, there's plenty of games this year to know how they play, and they're not super complicated in how they play, but they play hard and they push and they're aggressive and they play with confidence, and so they're doing a lot of good things, you know, that you would want to see as a first-year coach taking over a program. And you know, I think he's doing a good job. He's got two really good pieces that are juniors that have been through the wars of this league, and both have been good players, and so now they're taking next steps and averaging 17 points a game, both of them. And so you got two guys to lean on, one inside, one outside, which I think is even better. And you know, his freshmen are getting good experience, and young players are getting good experience. And then they got a couple guys like a Madison Jones that, like, his stats don't tell what he does. He really defends, takes care of the ball, pushes it, moves Cody Miller-McIntyre over to the two-some so he can be more of a scorer. So they've got some good pieces that, you know, are rounding into form. I know Aaron Roundtree's been hurt with a broken hand, and he's kind of one of their best defenders, so he hasn't played lately, but I think they're probably excited to get him back defensively. So they have a nice crew, and you can tell they get along, and they're playing well, playing hard.